I don't actually know what this video is about. I've been sewing Boy Scout uniform. My kids have a Pinewood Derby tomorrow, so I'm getting everything ready for that. And I wanted to finish this, but reality said, "Hey, there's something coming through, so just start making a video." So I'm trying to honor that. Something that has been showing up lately is this idea that part of my purpose or my skill set or my gift, if you will, is this ability to articulate the stories of my life into the experiences of my life into useful stories for others. This is something that I've seen in the pattern. I've seen it in human design that I mentioned in an earlier video. And I was just seeing it again. Like I only have one channel, and a channel in human design is when you have two ends. So you have gates in human design in your different centers, and a channel forms when you have both of the corresponding gates between two different centers. So in this case, I have a channel that is from the ajna center, which is like the lower brain, to the throat. So that's about articulating experiences that I've had and then expressing them. That's actually the only channel that I have. So I guess the story that's coming up is this story of when I really knew it was time to leave SRI, which is the last formal corporate job that I had. It was the job that I got after I got out of the Army when I moved to Indiana. I was the CTO for this little company, and I had known for a long time that I was supposed to leave, that I was meant to leave this job. But I'd already done a lot of work to make it really, really like a good situation. One of those like, why would you ever leave that? It's such a great deal. You got such a great scenario. Essentially, I was working in the office only 2 days a week. And then I was working from home the other days for like only 5 hours, I think, by the end. And I had started at 9 to 5 every day in the office. And I just worked with them over time to change it because I knew that I had other things that I wanted to be working on, and they respected that, and they respected me. So it got to that point, and I was like, well, this is really awesome, but I still feel like I just have to leave entirely. And I wasn't putting in a date for that to happen. And then I was on my way to work one day in my little SRI polo shirt and my pants, my slacks, driving in the truck that we had. And I'm going off this, taking an exit off the highway, and it's a right-hand turn. It's 2 turn lanes, and it was really kind of dark and hard to see. That it had been like raining and overcast. And it's pretty early in the morning, so I'm taking this turn, and there's another car right next to me, and we bump sides in the turn very lightly. So, and I pull up to there's a light there, and I'm gonna make a left to go towards my office. So I'm in the left-hand turn lane, and this car is behind me. I look in the mirror, and I can see this smaller old man in the driver's seat, and then like I swear it's a 13-year-old kid in the passenger seat. So I'm like, okay, I guess that's the car that I hit, and it seems like, this is a kid with this guy, so it's not going to be anything too crazy, is what I think. So I pull over into this, I take the left, and I turn off on the left into this bank parking lot and just park. And this car pulls up next to me on my left. We're both facing the same direction, and there's a space in between the two vehicles. And I get out into that space, and I see the kid there. And I'm just standing there, looking forward the way the cars are facing, just kind of waiting for this guy to get out and to have the normal conversation. Hey, look at the damage. Do I need to exchange insurance? It's just the normal thing, right? And the next thing I know, I'm hit in the back of the head with a crowbar. Right? And so I turn around, and what's strange about this whole scenario also is that I was totally calm and kind of almost out of the body in a way, kind of removed from what was happening. And all that I could think is, why in the world is this guy attacking me with a crowbar right now? This doesn't make any sense. And I say that to him. I said, why are you attacking me with a crowbar? And he has not stopped attacking me since the first hit. He's just going at it, and I'm kind of blocking with my arm and my leg, my left leg and my left arm, blocking some of this stuff. And he's like, "You hit my car, I'm gonna kill you," which does not compute. What's also interesting is that I've been trained to disarm and in the Army, disarm people and very quickly incapacitate them. That is part of that training. And none of that kicks in. None of that activates. At one point I like have his arm and I'm like in his face. And it's all in this strange slow motion thing that's happening. And he's just, I don't even do anything there at that point. I draw back and he keeps attacking me. So eventually I decide, because I do have this clarity going on, that he's not going to stop. So if I remain here, eventually he'll probably knock me down or knock me out and then beat me to death. He's stated his intention to kill me. I can take a lot of hits, but this is a guy with a crowbar. Like, I don't have anything but my own hands. That's all I'm defending with here, and I'm clearly not going to disarm him. That would have happened already. So I'm like, stay here and die or retreat. Like, so I retreat away from the scenario, and he smashes in the window of my truck, smashes the side of it some more, and then goes to get in his vehicle and starts taking off. For whatever reason, I kind of come back and I see his license plate, and I quickly kind of memorize it, and then I text it to Allie, my wife at the time. And that's all I sent her, just the license plate. She's like, "What?" And then I get back into my truck with the broken glass everywhere, and I drive what is maybe, I don't know, not very far down the road to my office. Kind of haphazardly park. And what's also interesting about this day is normally I'm the first person there, and there's nobody else there because I come in early and leave a little early as part of the deal on these days. But someone else is there that day, and I go into the office and I'm bleeding a lot from my head. I actually have long hair at this time. That's up in a man bun, so hopefully maybe that cushioned things a bit. But I am bleeding. I'm bleeding on the carpet, or I'm laying over carpet, and I'm like, well, I better not bleed on the carpet. So I go in the bathroom, and I'd asked the guy, I'm like, "Hey, I got attacked by a guy with a crowbar. Can you call the police and the paramedics?" And he's like, "Oh my God," and he does that. And so I'm just bleeding in the I've got blood on my uniform, right? Corporate t-shirt. I've got blood. I'm bleeding in the office. I'm bleeding in the bathroom. And for me, this is a pretty clear sign that it's time to go, or time to make a commitment to go. Because the whole thing is very surreal, very strange. Nothing random about it as far as I'm concerned. And I hold this whole time, I hold no ill will towards this person. I think a lot about that kid, and like, what is his life like? This is the example that he's seen. It's got to be awful, you know. I think I have a lot of compassion more than anything, than anger. So my boss takes me to the hospital after the police question me and take pictures and all this stuff. He takes me to the hospital. And my wife shows up and our friend, and they give me like 3 staples in my head. I have a lot of adrenaline at this time, so it's not that painful. And we end up going home, and I get in the bath, and I'm sitting in the bath and touching my head. I'm like, oh, there's a lot more damage here than what they noticed. So we go back to which is it's like a half an hour. Go back to the hospital, and they do a more thorough check of my head, and I end up getting a total of 21 staples, and it's way worse the second time because the adrenaline's worn off, and they end up trying to give me some painkiller, but that's like stabbing a needle in your head, which is almost just as bad as the staples themselves. So it's really just a bad scenario. And they also gave me like a CAT scan stuff. Maybe not a CAT scan. I don't know exactly what it was, but there's a head scan. The first time I was there, and the doctor made a joke. He's like, if anybody tells you you have a hard head, it's true. Because there's no damage to your brain or damage to your skull. It's all superficial to the head, right? Superficial. Didn't feel very superficial, but Just a flesh wound. And so I ended up taking 2 weeks off from work and working on Your Authentic Self, actually, at the time, trying to do like a launch for that. And then I come back, and this is in October, I want to say. And I come back and I talk to my boss, and I'm just like, I feel like this is done for me. Like, I can be here, I can help you guys transition till the end of the year, but it's done. Like, I can't be here anymore. Not after that, not after what a clear sign that was, that it's time for me to do other things, you know? And what's interesting also is that I had often wished for bad things to happen to me. For like people to die, I've never really, I think that it might have been a martyr complex from previous lives or something. It was something that I kind of released later. I don't really know where that came from, but it, after this happened, I was able to be like, I don't really need awful things to happen to me. This has been pretty bad, pretty strange, and if you want to communicate with me reality, I will listen, and it doesn't have to be so severe. Like, I will listen much more quickly and to messages that are not so intense. And I think that you really do get what you put out. Like, I had asked for years for something bad to happen to me, and something bad happened. That's one part of it. Another part is that reality will send you stronger and stronger messages if you don't listen. Like, we repeat these same patterns over and over again, and they intensify every time. Every time they get stronger and stronger until we get it, until we get the message. And the message for me was like that I'm not supposed to have a corporate job. That's not what I'm meant to be doing, And I got that message. But it's different for everybody. It's different for you than it was for me, There's also something there about the ability for us to have forgiveness for horrible things and compassion for other people and what they're going through. That everything happens for a reason. That everything is in our best interest, even getting attacked by a guy with a crowbar. Who knows how much longer I would have been there. And it was amazing for me. That led to some of the most amazing times in my life, leaving that job and leaving Indiana as well. It was all what needed to happen for my growth and my expansion, and for me to really understand who I am. So I don't know why that story wanted to come up, but it just did, and hopefully it provides some benefit to you. Thanks for listening.